From the Ear to There Travel Studio, this is the Ear to There Disney Podcast.
The Ear to There Podcast, it's time to start the show. Be sure to hold on tight, here we go. Exploring all the different Disney destinations. Ear to There, it's time to start the fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ear to There Disney Podcast. Can you imagine if I did shows like that? Holy cow, who would listen? Welcome to the podcast. I am your host, Phil Gramlich. I am also the owner and the founder of Ear to There Travel, which is a Disney specialized travel agency. It's my job to take away all that stress, all that anxiety, and all that time that it takes to plan a Disney trip so you can focus on the really fun things like having a great time with your family and friends and enjoying the magic. And I do all of that. I take away all that stress, all of that anxiety, and I give you back all of that time at absolutely no extra cost to you. So from getting you the best possible deal on your hotel room or your package reservation to fast pass booking, dining reservations, transportation, special event tickets, and much, much more. All of that is absolutely free of charge. Well, I mean, not from Disney. Somebody pays for that somewhere. But when you are booking through me, you are not paying for it. So let me help you. Let me be your guide. Let me be the Remy to your linguine. I'll be behind the scenes pulling all the strings, or the hair as it is in this case. But I'll never come out from behind the scenes and scare someone because, I'm a rat or something like that. Hey, listen, these are hard to come up with every week. And you can find this podcast, my blog, the live videos, or request a free, no obligation quote over at eartotheretravel.com. Also, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think about the podcast. Do me a favor, head over to eartotheretravel.com/message and send me a message and let me know what you like, what you don't like, what you love, or love about the show. If you have a reason why you should be on the show, if you have a topic idea, if you want to tell me I'm crazy, whatever, go over to eartotheretravel.com/message and let me know. Also, anyone who sends me a message in the month of June here in 2018 will be eligible. That's right. Anyone who sends me a message will be eligible for a free giveaway, a free prize. And that is a candle from Magic Candle Company. So, yep, just go over to eartotheretravel.com/message, send me a message, and you are eligible to win that prize this month. Okie doke. Did I say okie doke? Oh, man. All right. This is episode number 126 for the week of June 4th, 2018. Now, grab a drink, grab a snack, and as a famous mouse once said, on with the show. And let's get the show started with the What About Bob segment of the show. This is where Disney legend and retired Imagineer Bob Gurr comes on to answer your questions and mine. If you have a question for Bob, please call the voice line. That phone number is 267-551-1971. If you're not quite sure who Bob is, he was hired by Walt Disney in 1954 to work on Disneyland. His first thing that he developed were the Autopia cars. He then went on to build the Matterhorn, the monorails, the Doom buggies, the Omnimover system, the submarines, the Main Street vehicles, more and more, on and on. And this segment of the show is brought to you by the Waltland Bus Tour. So each and every month, Bob Gurr takes a group or a busload of people around Southern California, including stops in Burbank, in Glendale, and in Los Angeles. He stops at all the important places in the history of the Disney company, but more importantly, in the life of its founder, Walt Disney. To get tickets to the Waltland Bus Tour, just head over to www.waltland.com. All right, without further ado, here is the only Imagineer that I know of who has a Mr. Toad's wild ride car in his dining room. Here he is, Bob Gurr.
It's What About Bob? Bob Gurr, the legend, creator of the Matterhorn, the monorails and the Haunted Mansion. What about Bob, the Disney legend?
So, Bob, Joe from St. Louis wants to know about the new Skyliner vehicles. How are they going to be safe in the weather in things like thunderstorms?
I haven't seen much about it. I've had people tell me about it in words. I think I've seen one little picture of what the car looks like, but I don't have any knowledge of the system, where it goes, what it's supposed to do, who's building it. But skyways are, the technical term for a skyway is a ropeway. And ropeways have been around well over 100 years. It's a very standard, well-known industry. There's a lot of companies that make them. They're like ski lifts,
Right.
things like that. They're all over the world, extremely popular, because when you want to travel a great distance over stuff that's already built up or stuff that goes over water, mountains, trees, and everything, that's a pretty ideal thing to do. Obviously, you could say, well, if you had a vehicle that was enclosed and it was in a storm and you're in the Swiss Alps, that's fine. Everybody's okay. But when you have a nice, pleasant climate where you have vehicles that are open air and a thunderstorm's coming, well, obviously, you don't put people in a car like that because it would scare them to death. But actually, you're 100% safe. If you get hit by lightning with a cable, you're in the car. You're not in the ground path going to ground, because it hits the car or hits the cable. It's going to go down that cable and go to ground that way. And you would be far safer in a skyway hanging from a steel cable than standing on the golf course with your golf club.
Wow,
because the nature of lightning is such that look how many golfers die every year because they hold up a golf club under a tree and the lightning sees that golf club and they want to go right to ground through the poor guy, and the guy gets roasted. But if you're in your car or an airplane, you don't even know you got hit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's what's called the Faraday cage effect. In other words, the lightning path is going to go on a path around you, so you're in a good spot.
So, did anyone else think of the show Lost when Bob was talking about the Faraday cage effect? Remember the character Daniel Faraday on Lost? I hope you're not too young when you're listening to this. Lost has been off the air for a long time. Anyway, thank you to Bob once again for answering another listener question. That's what I've gotten in my inbox a lot. What's going to happen in bad weather with those Skyliner vehicles? So there you go. Bob assures us, and really, who would know better than him? But Bob assures us that you're quite safe in a Skyliner vehicle in bad weather. So that's good to know. So thanks again to Bob, and thank you. I think it was Joe. Yeah, I'm going to delete this if it wasn't Joe. But thank you to Joe for your question. And here we go on to episode number 126 of the Ear to Their Disney podcast, Wake Up the Glee Club. Here to look back on all of our predictions and the changes that were coming to Walt Disney World is a man who has been sitting in line at Casey's Corner for hours for the mac and cheese hot dog today, since it is National Cheese Day. Chuck Rodriguez, welcome back to the show.
I knew you were going to say something about National Cheese Day. I just knew it.
Did you? So,
and
are
like
you
I
going?
wrote before, no, I remember I have the silver annual pass, and the blackout began yesterday, so I couldn't go even if I wanted to.
Oh, man.
Which I don't.
Well, I'll tell you what. I put that post up on Facebook today, and people were going nuts. Listen, I know what I'm talking about with Casey's. It's awesome. You're just unfortunately wrong when it comes to Casey's Corner. I hate to tell you, but so all right. So thanks for coming back on, man. I thanked you before I hit record because I got stuck for a podcast, and you are the best, and you're always willing to help, and thank you for that, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
So this is interesting. So I think it was almost a year ago. It had to be because it was before the D23 Expo, before all the big changes were announced. They were only rumored to be coming to Walt Disney World. You and I did a show where we did the kind of thing where we talked rumors, we talked news, we talked what was coming. I titled it Epcot, A Change is Going to Come. And it was all about the changes that were proposed to be coming to Epcot.
Right.
And I wanted to see how we did. We can kind of score it and see how we did a year ago.
Okay.
So if it's cool with you, I have a list in front of me. We'll kind of take it one by one. And it's not exactly what we talked about, but it's close. Listen, I'm not a pro. All right, I try. I'm not very good at this whole podcasting thing. I'm only 2 years in. I got to practice some more. So first thing I wanted to talk about, how do you say it? I say it too fast. Is it Ratatouille? Ratatouille?
I say Ratatouille. I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, so Ratatouille, however you say it. The attraction in France, we heard that it was coming last year, and it is. It's actually being built as you and I speak. I think, do you know when it broke ground for this? It was a couple months ago, right?
It could not have been a long time ago, but I think the building's already going vertical. I think you can already see it sticking out. Yeah,
it's. I think they couldn't have broke ground longer ago than like March, but it is going up in the air. Looks like it's going to be a pretty big show building, judging by the pictures I've seen online and all of that. Of course, it's the same attraction that they already have out in Disneyland Paris. You got to ride that, right, or did you not?
No, when I went, I only went to the Magic Kingdom. I didn't go to the studios.
Okay, so
my niece and I have watched the YouTube videos of that ride several times already.
It looks awesome, I have to admit. Like, I am very, very excited about it. Like you said, same one that's out in the studios in Paris. It's a 3D attraction. I think it's going to be, I don't even know when it's going to be done. You're supposed to do research before these, and I didn't do a whole lot of research today. I'm not quite sure. I forget when it's going to be done. I'm excited for it. I know we had mentioned it, that it was rumored that it was coming. It is coming. It is being built now. So I don't know if you saw. Have you seen the queue out there at Paris?
In the video on YouTube, they only show like the entrance, which actually looks a lot like what the France Pavilion at Epcot looks like.
Yeah, it's like the Gusto's restaurant. I know when you go inside the queue. I've seen the queue video as well, and I hope they bring the same thing to Epcot because it looks like the scenes in France at nighttime in the film.
Right.
You're walking through like the cities and the alleyways,
getting to
Gusto's. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be really cool. So
I believe the blueprints that were that came out with the rumors and stuff. It does make it seem like it'll be a really long queue, like around the perimeter of the building before you get into the new building.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of has to be with all the stuff that they do now with the extended. What do you call it? What I'm looking for, enhanced queues. I would imagine there's going to be some pretty cool stuff coming to those queues. Like if you wait in line for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or the Little Mermaid at Magic Kingdom, they have the very cool kind of advanced queues with the crabs or with the what's Mine Train have? Not crabs, I forget, but whatever. The jewels and the dwarfs. I don't know. I always mess that up. I still don't understand why it should be dwarves, but they went with dwarfs. It's just awkward to say. It really is.
It's not a word I usually say.
I guess you don't. It's not something that you're constantly talking about.
It doesn't come up in regular conversation daily. No,
you're right. It doesn't, I guess. All right. So that was that. And then we have, all right. So here's what I was interested in getting your take on because you and I were kind of comparing notes a little earlier. And you had said that, did you hear that there was a new pavilion coming to Epcot or you didn't hear that? I forget what you said.
The last I had heard, it was just in the rumor list. So I have not heard from like anybody who works down here or anything that it was going to be a definite.
Yeah, see, I've heard, again, it's all rumor and all speculation, that there is in fact a new pavilion coming to Epcot. I can't confirm what the country is, or because I have people who have told me things. I don't want to get them in trouble. I had some people tell me Brazil. Some people told me, there was another. It was definitely a South American country. What's that?
Spain was talked about a lot.
Yes.
A year ago.
Yeah. Spain, that's, of course, not in South America. Right? No, that's Europe. I had to think about the map in my head for a second. But yeah, so there's been rumblings about it for a while that something new is coming. It makes sense. I mean, they have a lot of room to build in World Showcase. Of course, that's why Ratatouille, I keep saying it wrong. Ratatouille is coming there. And, there's other rumored attractions coming there as well. I'm excited, man. It looks like Epcot is getting a ton of money. Like we speculated a year ago. I've heard somewhere up around $300 billion or something like that. It's some insane
No, it can't be
number.
$1 billion. Maybe $3 billion.
Was it $3 billion? That's what it is.
It's not 300 billion.
No, that's not right. I should edit that out. $3 billion, not $300 billion. That would be a small country.
Although they have that revenue from me just from chocolate chip cookies that I buy at Walt Disney World every time I'm there.
Yeah, that's what it was. $3 billion, something along those lines, between 2.5 and $3 billion, or $300 billion, which really that would be a lot of chocolate chip cookies. It's a ton. So all right, so I'm excited about that. And here's one that you mentioned to me that I thought was dead, like completely dead. We talked about this last year, and that's staying in World Showcase, and that's the Coco attraction possibly taking over for the Grand Fiesta Tour. I thought that since the movie had come and gone, and it was kind of, in a rearview mirror, that was history, but you're hearing otherwise.
I'm hearing otherwise because it's also a good excuse for them to change the layout of the pavilion, because just from that new tequila bar alone, it is ridiculous walking inside the plaza there when you go inside the pavilion. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's super crowded in there. It's hard to get around. It's also whenever they have like the Donald Duck meet and greet in there, and then you have the line for the Cava on the other side, and then there's the people going into the restaurant, and then the other people going into the attraction. Yeah, something might need to be done in there, but I really thought maybe that was going to be spared because. But Coco, listen, it's a great movie, man. I have to. It was really good. I think Amy saw the movies 3 times with our kids. I saw it, I think, once or twice. You just saw it.
I saw it last night for the first time.
You liked it, right?
Yes.
Is it? See, I wonder, like, I don't know, like, is it, what, I'm trying to think, trying to put it, like, is it a movie that's good because it's good, or is it a movie that's good because it kind of it's emotional and it's sad and it's a little bit manipulative? I felt manipulated after I watched that movie.
Isn't that what makes a good movie?
I guess so. I don't know, man.
Is that what makes a good relationship? Actually.
Well, I don't know. I mean, speak for yourself. I can't. You know what? I have a wife that may or may not listen to this episode, so I can't talk about that. But I feel like, I don't know, man. Like, I liked it a lot. I really did. The music was great. The animation's unbelievable. Unbelievable. They get better and better, Pixar, with every movie they put out. I don't know. I just felt like, I don't know, maybe a little too much tugging at the heartstrings. Maybe I'm crazy.
I think so, yes.
Chuck, you're killing me with the 1 or 2 word answers here.
No, I don't know where you're coming from here. I mean, I thought the story was perfect, and the characters were well established, and it did keep me guessing because I was not positive exactly like who was the villain. It was kind of like with Frozen. Like, I wasn't sure exactly who winds up being the villain. Like, it took me a while to figure that out, where they were going with that.
I didn't get it either. I didn't know that. I forget his name now because I haven't seen it in a while. But the guy with the guitar, who was who he thought.
He thought was his grandfather.
Yeah. I really thought he was the good guy, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, whoa. No, I mean, spoiler alert, I guess, but it's too late now. But. All right, so Coco still may be happening, which I'm super surprised about, and I really did think it was dead. The other thing that I wanted to ask about, okay, so on the previous show from last year, you had the idea of the boutique hotels coming to World Showcase. Do you remember talking about that?
Yes, I do remember.
Yeah, so the idea was that they would be kind of in, or it would be, or there would be a couple little different sections of it that would be built in behind or in between kind of those pavilions. I haven't heard anything about that.
No.
But we have been hearing the updates for a new Epcot hotel.
The entrance.
Yeah, so the one that now, I don't know how true this is. I don't know. I literally have gotten no information on that from anyone. But there's been rumors out there, all in all the major rumor sites and all that there may be a hotel coming to either the main entrance of Epcot, so kind of where the monorail station is now, in front of Spaceship Earth, or off, if you're looking at Spaceship Earth, kind of off to the right, you're right there, where the bus parking and all is now. Those are the two rumors that are kind of being speculated about right now. I think it would be really cool to have a hotel in front of Spaceship Earth that had the monorail ran through. I don't know what your thoughts on it. Or would that be something that you'd be looking forward to? Would that upset you because it takes away that view from like kind of the parking lot and walking up to the park?
Have you met? I don't get emotional by things like that. I could care less. But
it's a good point.
But I think that. So some people are saying that the hotel will be in the main entrance, and some people are saying the hotel is off, like almost like towards Living Seas. I think they're wrong, because in order for the hotel is definitely going to be the entrance, but you've got to have the way to get in and out from the road and stuff has to go towards the right if you're facing Spaceship Earth, like behind the bus area.
Right. So
I see no reason why the hotel would only be in that spot. I just think that that's where it's almost like the hotel starts, and it will go across that entire completely mausoleum-like, dead-like early 80s space with all those ticket counters that are never used. That's what it'll do.
Well, the ticket counters up front, you mean, where there's the cast members kind of sit there? Is that what you're talking about? Like those, the old booths that have been there since the 80s?
Yes, where they use 4 of them, but there's 20.
Yeah, so you rip those out. You rip out the Leave a Legacy tombstones, and the main building of the hotel goes right there.
Yes, but you've got to extend all the way. If you're facing Spaceship Earth, it makes sense with the plans that have been leaked out, because you've got to extend the service road, or even the road where people will actually come and park at the hotel. It's got to go all the way to World Drive.
And they're going to charge for this hotel $55 to park because it's right at Epcot. So you got to charge. No, I'm kidding. But you never know with the parking fees. But listen, I'm all for it. I agree with you. I like, I'm not somebody who's completely sentimental about changes coming to the parks and resorts, and I'm all for it. But I just want to know where they're going to put the people from. They're building 3. We'll get to the other new hotels in a minute. But if they're putting new hotels in and all these new rooms and DVC rooms and everything else, where's everybody going to go? Because it's already operating. Okay, so they need the hotels because the hotels on a given night, Walt Disney World averages like 92, 93% full, right?
Yeah.
But the parks are also very, very crowded. So when these hotels reach, 95% capacity as well, where are all these people going to be? Where are they going to go at night? Where are they going to go during the day? Is it Disney Springs?
It just reduces the people who currently are in non-Disney hotels. That's all. I don't think it increases the amount of people.
No, you don't think?
No, I mean, no, not technically.
I guess it's a good point.
It's just less people who are staying at the non-Disney hotels.
So, yeah, I wonder. I don't know. I talked to a friend of mine who works in the parks, and I asked about the 5th gate, and he said absolutely not. He actually kind of made me feel silly about it. And he said Disney looks at Disney Springs. Walt Disney World looks at Disney Springs as their 5th theme park, basically, and
Yeah.
it's a big guest draw for on a daily and nightly basis. I mean, they're bringing a lot of people in there, and they're adding the new Cirque du Soleil show, and I guess they have a lot of people going there every night. I mean, as just a local, just to go and you guys just go and hang out. I guess you don't go as much probably as you did when it first opened, but it's still, I think, a pretty big draw for locals as well.
No, it definitely is, but it still can increase capacity there, and they are building 2 more parking garages, so it'll take care of that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't know. I just feel like I wonder with the like, how do you? Because I hear from so many clients now that I went and it was so busy and the lines were crazy and it was nuts and it's supposed to be off season and there really is no off season now. So how do they kind of limit the crowds? I mean, is it just raising prices because they keep doing it and people keep going and paying it? So I wonder what else they can do to kind of limit the crowds on an everyday basis. You got to figure it out for me today on the podcast. You didn't see that coming.
I mean, I don't. It's not just one answer, but increasing Disney hotels actually keeps people who are currently at Disney, like that. Actually, some people would stay at the hotel during the daytime. They wouldn't go to the parks, first of all. So that's another thing. Plus, some people, like myself, if we go to a park, we might actually prefer to go to a hotel for dinner, for example. So that only increases other choices.
Yeah, I mean it's a good point. I just wonder.
Then it does exactly what it's always done. Like, why is SeaWorld suddenly having half the attendance that it did 15 or 20 years ago? Because it's still the same number of people. I mean, yes, it's increased, but almost the same number of people who are coming to Orlando every year. But people be like, well, there's more to see at Disney, so let's not go to SeaWorld ever again. It's like that.
People be like.
It's like, I remember the biggest thing what people still talk about, because they had the whole 60 Minutes special about it a couple of years ago. But I remember, before Disney really started expanding all of their hotels, and we never thought we could ever afford to stay at an actual Disney hotel, it was all about the hotels up and down 192. From the Turnpike exit in St. Cloud all the way to, almost, State Road 27. And now the majority of those hotels and motels, people are living in them. They're not for tourists.
Yeah, you're right.
Because there have been so many new, better hotels and timeshare resorts and everything that have opened instead. It's people. It's not more people technically. It's just less people go to the older hotels. That's all.
Yeah, it's funny. I started seeing that when I still lived there. Was those old hotels along 192 were being converted to apartments and condos because what. There's they won't sell. They have all the the properties on Disney property now. So I guess it makes sense. All right, so let me move on. I'm looking at my list. Okay, how about this? I don't even know if we tackled this last year, but the monorails. You remember the video? I don't even know how many months ago it was. That made the rounds on YouTube. It was all over the internet. That the monorail was
door opening.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, so it was horrible. Listen, as long as nobody went near it while it was riding, whatever. But luckily no one got injured. Nobody fell out. Nobody was silly and tried to jump out or anything like that. But it was speculated right after that, Disney can't run the monorails anymore. They're not going to have them. They're going to get rid of them. I remember I read a couple articles that week that were like, Disney's going to scrap the whole monorail system. And that didn't make any sense to me. But it was, I guess, not really announced, but Bob Gurr had an event in Celebration, 4 to 6 weeks ago, and he mentioned that new monorails were going to be built by the Bombardier company in Canada for Walt Disney World. So I want to know from you, are you excited about the new monorails coming, or are you, like you are very often when I ask you questions, just indifferent on the entire thing? Are you happy about the announcement?
Excitement is maybe too strong of a word, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
So it was either that. Before the Bob Gurr thing leaked out, I I was under the impression that it made sense if they were going to just shut down the Epcot line and use the existing parts and the trains and whatnot to just improve enough for the Magic Kingdom line so that it could last another 20 years or so. That's what my cynical side that would only think about the expense. That's what I thought they would do.
But I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad they're not. Hopefully, I mean, at least right now it's still, I guess, in rumor.
Thing, maybe, but no. If they're gonna do a luxury resort at the entrance of Epcot and everything, no. I think they're keeping both lines. I think they are.
I would hope. I really enjoyed the Epcot line, the Epcot monorail line, and going through the park and all that. I think it adds so much to like what Future World is, or at least what it was and what it was supposed to be. When you're standing here, even when you're just walking through the park and it kind of zooms over your head, I love that. So I hope we have that. And the new monorails that company's been making look pretty awesome. They're a little different looking than the ones we're used to. A little boxier, not like futuristic, not like the ones Bob Garrett built for Disneyland or the most recent ones that were built for Disneyland, which are, I don't know, they're like the Mark 8 or something. But they look like the old-fashioned ones.
They're boxy like the Tokyo ones. Yeah, those are pretty. But on the inside, they're incredible.
Real roomy, man, on the inside. Yeah, but it's funny when you got to Disneyland and if you haven't been on that monorail out there, and you get on it, like I'm 5'7", I can't even stand up on that thing. Like you can't. Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember my kids. We went out when we were out there last summer. We're like, oh, we're gonna because I'm we were walking from the Disneyland hotel to Disneyland, and I said, let's ride the monorail. And they were like, oh, yeah, because they expected the monorail from Walt Disney World. And you get on it, and there's no air conditioning, and it's small, and it's low, and it shakes, and tips side to side as you go. Yeah, it's a way different experience than a monorail in Walt Disney World. I asked Bob about that, actually, and he was like, he gave me a whole answer about, how it was. He said he didn't want to badmouth the guys that designed it, and then he went on and kind of didn't talk very highly about the guys that designed it. All right, so I was saying we'll get to the other resorts. The new resorts, we haven't heard much about the Riviera Resort that was announced last summer at D23. It was announced, and it kind of, nobody's really heard of it. We did hear about the theater that was supposed to come to Main Street. That was announced for a new show in Magic Kingdom. It looks like that's been scrapped. That was Disney put out a list of what is coming, and that wasn't even on the list as far as projects that were going to be started. So what I heard is when the monorails were kind of given the green light that was scrapped. I don't know if you've heard the same thing, but
yeah, I guess it's just a budget thing.
Yeah, it's not something I'm going to be honest with you. I heard that. I was kind of worried about, and I'm a nerd, and you know that. I was worried about the look and the feel of Main Street with putting a huge theater that would have, seat thousands of people. I didn't like the idea of that, so I'm actually kind of glad they're not doing it. But the other resort that kind of came out this week it's not out of nowhere because we heard the rumors for a while, but the rumor came out that, well, not rumor, it's actually kind of confirmed, that River Country is finally going to be demolished to make way for an all-new Disney World resort. It's going to be built by the same architecture firm that built Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. That's awesome news to me. I'm super excited about that. Good.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I'm sure that they're trying to increase hotel capacity by the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if there's no other spot close to the Magic Kingdom that you can build on, then I guess that's the only spot left. I mean, if you can't do it on Seven Seas Lagoon, then isn't that the only spot left, really?
Yeah, I think so. And they tested that. That was, I think, in the early 2000s when they were thinking about putting a resort there. I don't know what they do when they test the ground, and there was where the Persian Hotel was going to originally go. They, with Walt Disney World's Phase 2 or whatever it was, they tested the ground there around the Seven Seas Lagoon, and it wasn't stable. It's not stable enough to support a resort. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense that that's where it would go. The rumor is it's going to be a DVC property as well. 1,300 hotel rooms, with maybe 300 of those being used, or 350 billion being used by the Disney Vacation Club. So I can't believe I said that. So, oh man,
Billion.
What's that?
300 billion. It would be Epcot would become the most incredible place on earth. We'd all be spending $1,000 and waiting online for 3 months because it was that incredible.
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why that came out of my mouth. And then I argued with you for a second. I was like, no, that's right. No, it's not. You dope. So 1,300 hotel rooms, with rumored 300 of them being Disney Vacation Club rooms. I'm super interested in what the theme would be, because it's going to be. I mean,
what theme can it possibly be except yet another Western? It wouldn't make any sense. It's in between the two Western themed places,
right? So it's got to be what, like I don't know, like an old West kind of town, or
it could be like the one Hotel Diane in Paris. It looks like an entire town, an entire Old West town.
Yeah, I guess it's what you have to do. I mean, it can't be a lodge, because you already have Wilderness Lodge, which kind of also that doesn't connect to the property, but it's right next door.
Well, yeah, you could walk. There is a walkway.
Yep.
Wilderness Lodge all the way to Fort Wilderness, so it would be right in the middle of. It would be in that walkway, really.
Yeah, or you could run. There's like a running trail back there too.
Right.
You said that right. Yeah, you're right.
Right. You want to waste your vacation doing that? That's fine.
All right. So I mean, whatever. So yeah, what did I say the one time when I ran a half marathon, and I was all proud of it. I think it was my first half marathon I ever ran back in 2012, and you came by. We were going to go out to dinner that night, and you came by and you picked up the medal and you go, "What? Phil, you couldn't run a whole marathon?"
I remember that.
Thanks,
by the way, at this point, haven't you actually come to Disney World, spent all the money, and then just skipped out on the marathon more than you've actually done the marathon?
Kind of, yeah. I've run 2 Goofies and a Dopey, and then a half there once. And I have missed 2 Dopies and a Goofy from either being... I've signed up, I've done the training, and I've either gotten sick and or injured and haven't been able to do it. So yeah, that's not good. That's a lot of money wasted, man. Like, because it's not like I knew ahead of time and could cancel. Like, I didn't know until the day before, or a couple days before. The one time I had the flu, and the other time I had a broken ribs. So yeah, it's been Run Disney owes me some. They owe me some races, but they don't. That's not the way they work. So I'm going to sign up this year again, and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm debating. Amy and I were just actually talking about that today, because the registration is late this year. It was supposed to already have happened, but they pushed it off by a couple of weeks. So I don't know if I can commit to Dopey. There's just too much going on. Plus with the kids and school, and
right.
And I'll already be there in July, and then we're coming down for my mom's 60th birthday, and so yeah, it'll be a lot of trips. And I'm going out to Disneyland for quote unquote work in a couple of weeks. So anyway, all right. So another thing we talked about on the show last year was Star Wars Land. Now we found out that before I get to that, the Star Wars Hotel, I'm sorry, was announced. We had no idea that was coming when we talked last year.
No, but we knew it was coming. We didn't know the location.
Last year we didn't know. We didn't. Before, when we did the show, it was announced at D23. We didn't know it was coming before D23.
I could have sworn we discussed about my speculation about the location, about how I feel like they don't want the riffraff like us to suddenly walk in there like we do other Disney hotels.
Yeah, we did. We did talk about that. That was on a different show after it was announced.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, we brought that up. And that's actually what I wanted to talk to you about, because, exactly, you're exactly right. So it looks like it's going to be built kind of right next door to Star Wars Land, right? So
yes.
You were right, I think. And so what we speculated on last year and what I've heard for a while is, and I think you hit on it last year, that it would have to be like a cruise onboarding, right? To get into the hotel, where you would have to be staying there at the hotel.
Right, everybody checks out and checks in the same day.
Same day, yeah, exactly, exactly. And it looks like it hasn't been announced, but I think you were right on with that. I don't know if there's any other way to do it. They're not going to have schmoes like me and you who are staying at Wilderness Lodge, where you're local, coming in and ruining that experience for people. Like,
no, exactly. And where it's going to be located, to me, makes perfect sense. Nobody can really just go there just for fun, like we do to other hotels, just to have a bite to eat and sit back in the pool, even though you're not staying there. You can't do it because it's going to be landlocked between like the two busiest roads, and then like the entrance into the parking lot. And so I think they deliberately did that, so nobody can just go over there just for fun.
Yeah, and it's not going to be a place where you can go and just eat in a restaurant because you want to try a Star Wars restaurant. Or
that's probably why they're doing the space restaurant in Epcot, because it'll probably make up for that.
Look at you! I didn't think about that, but that's a really good point.
Yeah, it makes sense to me because it's really the same experience except without the IP, obviously.
Yeah. It is, and because they did announce again that every room in the resort's going to look out into space. It's not going to be a window into the parking lot or the savannah or something like that. So I think you're right on. And it said that they're encouraging guests to dress the part, which I think is fun and super nerdy at the same time. I'm going to do it. I'll pay the money. I know Amy is not. This will probably be me and the kids, or just me. But I'm in. I don't know. I know you're a Star Wars fan. Is this something you've heard the rumors about the prices? Is this something you would do? Would you pay the money to do that?
No, somebody would have to pay for me.
Don't look at me.
Somebody wants to do it more than me, but wants me to tag along, for the for the remarks and the comments. They'll have to just bring me along.
So for me, it feels like I've always wanted to do Philly's Dream Week, right? Like it's the week where you go and you dress up like you're a Philadelphia Philly, and you get to play and go to the clubhouse at spring training, and you play in games alongside actual Phillies, and
my, what a dream that is.
Yeah, not everyone is like you, Chuck. Not everybody wants the Golden Girls Dream Week. You need to just be
my dream. For a week, I get to just live out in the lanai with the four ladies.
Yeah, I mean, we're not all like you, but that. So to me, it's very much like Philly's Dream Week for Star Wars fans. Like, you're gonna get to go for whatever it is, 2 days, 3 days, and go back and forth between the hotel and the land. And I'm assuming they're gonna have probably a private entrance into Star Wars Land, kind of like DCA.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be a tunnel underneath that road.
Right, like DCA kind of has. It
would have to make sense because you're going from space to land, so the tunnel would make it seem like somehow you are transported.
Or you're walking down maybe the ramp, maybe every day their ship lands, and I don't know, who knows how they're going to do it.
Okay. I see.
And then you walk down the ramp into the land, and then at night the ship takes back off when the park closes. Who knows? I don't know. That's just a rumor. I mean, a rumor. That's just a thought I had. Not a rumor at all. But so. Yeah, I think you're right on. I think you knocked it out of the park last year when you said it's going to be like a cruise experience. I think that's exactly right. So moving on to Star Wars Land now, it's okay. So we got the name since we recorded the last one. It's Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, of course, and we just found out last week that it's opening summer of 2019 in Disneyland and late fall for Walt Disney World Hollywood Studios. We previously heard that it was going to be like a 6-month gap between the two. It seems like it'll be a little bit less, unless, of course, it's opening in May in Disneyland and November for Walt Disney World, which I think is it's a possibility as well. Seems to me like it's a pretty good deal for Disney World because they can kind of, work out all the kinks and the problems and the issues and all that out in Disneyland. It'll have the huge grand opening out in Disneyland. All that stuff will happen out there, and then maybe they can keep it on a little lower kind of scale in Walt Disney World. I mean,
Yes, there's been people writing about that a lot in the last couple of weeks. It makes complete sense. First of all, for the publicity and for the opening galas and all that kind of stuff, obviously it makes more sense to do it in California, where you're 5 miles from where everybody who would be coming lives anyway. So there's that, and then the fact that Walt Disney World, it's just about the capacity. So they've got to have time to figure out how to actually get people in. Like, is it really going to be like when I went to Harry Potter Land for the first time, where you have to wait a 7-hour line just to get into the land and then wait on 4-hour lines for the rides?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah, it makes perfect sense that they're opening it there first. But remember this week, a couple of days ago, it came out that the annual pass holders for Disneyland, that the dates came out. And from the dates, it makes it seem like it'll open the third weekend of June.
I didn't see that, actually. I missed that. Oh, wow. Okay, so
because of when the blackout dates begin, everyone assumes that it'll be, I think, around June 21st.
Wow. Okay, so that makes sense. I have been asleep in my office for the last couple of days, so I did not catch the dates. I should probably know those. But to be fair and honest, I have a whole lot more people that go to Walt Disney World than go to Disneyland. My Disneyland clients are maybe 1 out of every 25 at this point.
Right.
But, all right, so you're looking at, late June, mid to late June for Disneyland, say 6. So what do you think that means for Walt Disney World? They say late fall. What do you think late fall means? Is that
December
November?
31st, a minute before midnight.
I'm thinking maybe early November is probably what they're looking at. It makes sense maybe after Halloween, because they're gonna. Well, listen, they don't have trouble drawing anyway. It's not like they have to worry about how they're gonna draw people to Walt Disney World. People are going. Like I constantly get asked, we want to go when there are low crowds. Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Get a time machine and go back to the early 80s Walt Disney World.
I say to not a lot more nicely than that, but I do say.
I would just say, do you have a flex capacitor?
It is. It's busy all the time. It is. It's the way it is now. But I mean, people can afford to go, and they're going. That's really what it is. So okay, the big question that I've been asked a lot, and I get this email at least once a week, maybe more likely 2 or 3 times a week. Is there going to be alcohol available in Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland? The announcement has not been made. I've heard that the cantina is being built with the capability to serve alcohol. But officially, the higher ups, the powers that be, have not decided one way or the other if alcohol will be available in Disneyland Park. But there will be the capability to serve it. There are, I'm assuming the refrigerators and the taps and all that stuff are being put in. What do you think? Your opinion? Are they going? Because from what I understand, it's not a revenue thing. It's people are going to go to that cantina no matter what. Sure, they'll make a little bit more, but the cantina in Disneyland is going to be smaller than a one in Walt Disney World. It's not going to seat that many. I think Trader Sam's size, kind of on a small side. So, do you think that they will eventually, or even when it opens, serve alcohol in that cantina in Disneyland?
I actually have no idea. And the reason is because how quietly in the past few weeks here at the Magic Kingdom, they've begun to serve alcohol practically everywhere. But I would assume that they would have started that at Disneyland. Why would they already have jumped 3 steps beyond from when everybody freaked out when they first said that there was going to be 1 beer and 1 wine at the Be Our Guest restaurant,
right,
5 years ago, and now all of a sudden you can get alcohol at every single sit-down restaurant. I don't know why in the world Disneyland wouldn't have quietly phased it in so that by the time Star Wars Land opens, it's like, oh yeah, alcohol in Star Wars Land, sure. Yeah,
I agree. I think that it should have been, or it should be, and maybe that's still on the drawing board. Maybe that's something that they're going to work on.
A year from now, that's not a long time for something. Huh?
Yeah, but look how quickly it went into Magic Kingdom. I mean, you just said, like, up until a few weeks ago, I think it was 4 or 5 restaurants.
Oh, well, it was pretty fast. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Like it was like overnight. They were like, oh, by the way, tomorrow night you can get a beer at
Crystal Palace, the
Yeah.
Plaza, I think even Diamond Horseshoe, or whatever that's called there.
And listen, they're not serving, and I know. Listen, I'm never going to convince a person who is so anti-drinking and totally anti-alcohol. I'm not trying to convince them that it's a good idea. I'm not. But what I try to convince people of is it's not the end of the world, and it's not like it's going to be Food and Wine Festival in Magic Kingdom. It's not.
No.
You can't possibly, on 2 Coors Lights, get to the point, any individual can't get to the point that they could get at Food and Wine Festival or at a bachelor party in World Showcase, where they're there from noon until 10 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever. They don't have, there's no chance you can get like that without spending $1 billion or $350 billion. It's impossible to get like that. Like, yeah, listen, do I want the kiosks serving alcohol at Magic Kingdom? No, I don't. I don't want that. But, I think in a limited way that it's been kind of rolled out, it doesn't bother me. I don't care. And you know me, I'm someone that'll have a couple drinks with dinner. I'll have a couple more drinks when I get back to my hotel room that night. I'm responsible with it. But yeah, I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I really don't.
I actually think the reason that it's not going to be a thing in the Magic Kingdom, even if Disney really, really wanted to be greedy and doing it just for the revenue, which I honestly don't. I don't actually think that, as cynical as I am, is because you're never going to see people, groups of people coming to the Magic Kingdom and wearing T-shirts saying "Drink around the kingdom," like "Drink around the world." It's just not. It's not designed to become a thing. I mean, there's so many reasons that people don't even think about or talk about why drinking around Epcot became a thing. First of all, because you're going from country to country, interacting with beautiful young people from other countries. So that's already there's like a certain environment, atmosphere created that is not walking from Small World to Space Mountain and having a beer on the way. It's not that.
Yeah,
it was
right.
a whole other thing.
No, you're totally right.
It's not going to happen. There's not going to be people walking around saying like, "Oh, okay, we have to have one drink in Adventureland, one drink in Frontierland, one drink." No, it's not going to be that. It's not going to be that.
And I agree. And again, if they did, it's not like there's 11 lands they can go to. I mean, or 12 or whatever at the end the ultimate number ends up being. I'm okay with it. I get it. I get people are upset. I get that people don't want alcohol there. What drives me crazy though, crazy is, and I say this all the time to people who will actually listen to me say it, is when people say, well, Walt would be rolling over in his grave. What would Walt Disney think? And I say, you don't know what Walt Disney would think. You don't know. Like, people say...
I just had a conversation with someone about our forefathers. Like, we don't know what John Adams or George Washington really thought about it.
No one knows.
Recordings. There's no recordings.
No. So we do know, what I do know, and this is what I tell people online when people come at me and get mad at me for saying that. We do know that in 1957, when Holidayland was open in Disneyland, that Walt Disney sold bottomless beers in Disneyland, on Disneyland property. Bottomless. They had their own entrance into Disneyland. So people could go drink beer for 5 hours and then walk right into the park. So I think it's crazy when people are like, well, Walt didn't want it. Walt had it at his park. He had alcohol for his friends and his family members, and he drank himself. He drank a whiskey every night. So I don't get it when people say, what would Walt think? Walt Disney died in 1966, and he wasn't a saint at all. And the guy drank.
I always assumed, and again, because it comes down to interpretation, and that it's funny because I just had this conversation with someone yesterday. There's a reason why there are like people whose entire career is as a scholar just to study one historic figure, like where they literally spend their entire lives going after every little sentence that they might have wrote on down so they could figure out what the person was like. That's a reason why that's actually a career. But I think people interpret what they want to. So when Walt started the whole Disneyland thing because he hated how carnivals are so are so ghetto, and they're so, with people walking around drinking and going on rides, and people doing probably, not very child-friendly things on the rides together.
G-rated podcast. G-rated podcast, Chuck. G-rated.
Well, that's as far as I went in my example. People know what we're talking about. Because that disgusted him, he built Disneyland. Sure, that makes sense. But you're definitely you're going overboard if you think that means that he just simply wanted a place where no one can ever be slightly inebriated. That's not. I don't think necessarily that's what he was thinking.
No, and
know that.
The reason why he didn't, one of the reasons why he didn't build in St. Louis was because.
Oh yes, there's that story too.
Right,
yeah.
Augustus Busch wanted all the money from the beer sales, and Walt was like, "No, you're not. I'm not going to guarantee you that." So who knows what he had planned for Disneyland in the future?
People like to interpret that he said no because he didn't want people drinking beer in his Disneyland.
And he never said that.
It probably was because he wouldn't get a cut of it or something.
He didn't. That's exactly right. He didn't say that.
It's not because he hated the concept of somebody having a drink while walking around his park. That's not exactly what he said.
No, and again, I hope people don't stop listening to the podcast because of this. Because I know people, it really does, and I try to keep an open mind. And it really does upset people that that now Magic Kingdom has alcohol in the park, and that it's a possibility that Disneyland will. And I just want to historically, set people straight and get people in the mindset that no, Walt never said I never want alcohol in my park. In fact, he sold it in his park and he gave it away to his friends at special events. Like that, people come to special events in Disneyland and walk around with drinks. They had drinks at their anniversary party the night before the park actually opened on July 16th, 1955. Walt was having beers in the, having drinks in the Diamond Horseshoe. So it was the Golden Horseshoe. So yeah, there was drinking going on in Disneyland before the park even opened. So it could have been as simple as he couldn't figure out a way to monetize it the right way. Who knows? He didn't want alcohol at that point, but who knows if he had lived 20 more years, what would have happened? Who knows? I mean,
I agree.
And it's another thing too. When I've asked Bob Gurr about it, when I've asked him about what Walt would think about something, he has gone nuts on me. And there are things that I haven't put on the show, but I've asked him questions like, oh well, so and so wants to know what Walt would think about this, and Bob says, how would I know what Walt Disney would think? I don't know what Walt would think. And he's right. Nobody knows. We don't know. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out there. And I know people, I'll probably lose a listener too because people get very, very up in arms about it. But I just like to be historically accurate. And it's fair to see both sides of it. But I want people to understand exactly the history of Disneyland and Walt.
Right. If it's your choice if you want to interpret that as, oh, Walt was against alcohol. That's your choice. It's not the reality.
It's not fact. It's not.
No.
Anyway, Chuck, that's all I got. So I hope people enjoyed this episode, and it was fun for me. I knew that I was going to get animated at the end there, so I kind of ramped up to that at the end. But so you were a lot more right than I'd like to admit last year when we were talking about this stuff. A lot of the stuff you actually...
I didn't doubt that was going to happen.
What's that?
I didn't doubt that was going to happen.
All right, with that, thank you again, Chuck, for coming on. I'll talk to you soon.
We should wait again until 2021 when everything actually opens, and we'll speculate then exactly how right we were.
When half of this stuff doesn't actually come to fruition, when we have to be said it was fact, that's probably what's going to happen. Nothing is guaranteed in Walt Disney World until it's actually built. I mean, we know that from David Copperfield's restaurant. Like, remember?
Oh, yes, I remember the time.
David Copperfield's Underground, remember?
I remember.
It was like going to be underneath Fantasmic stage or something, or under the stairs of Fantasmic. I don't know, in that area. And I'm still waiting to get my sandwich from David Copperfield's. Still haven't got to go.
Ironically, Copperfield's disappeared from the studio.
Well done. With that,
but I'm bunch.
Thanks, Chuck. And that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ear to There Disney Podcast. Thank you once again to my friend, to my co-host, Mr. Chuck Rodriguez. It's always fun to have Chuck on the show, even though he's kind of a grump. I don't know what's going on. No, I like to give him a hard time. He's a great guy. So thank you, Chuck, again for coming on the show. And I think, I'm almost positive, before National Cheese Day ended, you got yourself some cheese somewhere, even by accident. Thank you again to Bob Gurr for answering yet another question on the show. And thank you for listening, as always. Thank you so much. Listen, I wouldn't keep making these shows if you weren't listening. A smart man once told me not to look or focus on my podcast download numbers. And I don't really focus on it, but month after month, the last 2 years, it's gone up. So the fact that it's going up and the downloads are going up means you guys are listening. So listen, thank you right now. If you're listening to this right now, thank you so much for listening. I couldn't be more appreciative. You are awesome. Gosh, I really appreciate it. So thank you. And hey, listen, don't forget, I want to give away that Magic Candle Company candle at the end of June. So if you are enjoying the show, or even if you're not, I'd love for you to go over to eartotheretravel.com/message. Send me a message. Let me know what you think of the show, and then you'll be entered in the contest. All right, just remember, there will be a brand new Ear to There Disney podcast on Mondays, as well as a Word of the Week or an It's a Food World episode every Wednesday. Hopefully once in a while Thursday if I get crazy busy, but hopefully Wednesdays. So until next week, until next time, thank you again so much for listening. Thank you again. Really, thank you. Have a great week. Bye-bye.